Most people remember the 300 Spartans, the kings, the heroes. But what if I told you the real story is about a forgotten man, a nobody who wasn't meant to fight yet changed everything? This isn't just history, it's a lesson on courage, purpose, and rising when the world tells you no. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could change how you see yourself forever. Eryx was not a famous name in Sparta. In fact, it was a name most people didn't remember at all. He was not the son of a warrior. His father cleaned stables and sharpened old swords for real soldiers. His mother died when he was just 5 years old. Since then, Eryx grew up mostly alone, watching the world around him from the edges. In Sparta, boys were trained to become warriors from a very young age. Their days were filled with pain, discipline, and harsh lessons. But Eryx was never selected for such training. He was small, quiet, and often ignored. People said he would never be strong enough to fight. They said he wasn't meant for glory. But deep inside, Eryx always believed something different. He believed that being ignored didn't mean he was worthless. He believed that not being chosen didn't mean he wasn't capable. So every morning, before the sun came up, he trained by himself. He used wooden sticks as swords. He ran up hills alone. He copied what he saw the real warriors doing. No one noticed, but Eryx didn't care. Years passed. He became stronger, still not as strong as the other boys, but stronger than before. Still, the city of Sparta never called his name. Then one day, everything changed. The Persian army was marching toward Greece. Sparta was preparing for war. King Leonidas chose 300 of his finest warriors to go defend a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. It was a dangerous mission, and everyone knew they might never come back. The entire city gathered to see them off. People cried, shouted prayers, and showed respect. Eryx watched from a distance, hidden behind the crowd. No one expected him to be there. No one thought he mattered. But as the 300 left, Eryx made a quiet decision. He would follow them. He didn't tell anyone. He had no armor, no war training, and only an old rusted sword. But he believed in one thing, that courage was not something given, it was something chosen. So that night, while others slept, Eryx left his home, took his father's blade, and began walking in the same direction as the 300 Spartans. He didn't walk beside them. He walked behind them, far away, so they wouldn't see him. He was not part of their army, but in his heart, he was part of something greater. He was chasing purpose. The journey was long and difficult. Eryx had no supplies. He found water in rivers and picked berries from bushes. At night, he slept under trees. Sometimes it rained. Sometimes wild dogs followed him. But he kept going. After 5 days, his feet were sore, his clothes were dirty, and he hadn't eaten a real meal. But still, he moved forward. When he finally reached the hills of Thermopylae, he saw the Spartan army camped in the distance. He stayed hidden among the rocks, watching from afar. The warriors practiced their moves, sharpened weapons, and prepared to face the enemy. Eryx felt fear. These men were strong, trained, and ready to die. And then, something unexpected happened. A small group of Persian scouts spotted Eryx near the rocks. They chased him. He ran, but one of them caught up and attacked. Eryx fought back with the only skill he had, pure instinct and heart. Somehow he managed to injure the scout and escape. He was bruised, bleeding, and terrified. But that small fight changed something. A Spartan commander had seen him. The next morning, Eryx was dragged into the Spartan camp. The warriors surrounded him, ready to punish him for trespassing. They laughed when they saw his rusty blade. Some mocked his size and dirty clothes. But one man, a senior warrior named Damar, looked at him different. Days passed, and the war drew closer. Eryx had found a place in the Spartan camp, but he was still not a true warrior. The others ignored him or sometimes made fun of him. He knew that physical strength alone was not enough. He needed to fight with his heart and mind as well. Eryx tested himself every day. He helped with chores in the camp, learned how to hunt for food, and quietly watched how the warriors trained and fought. He realized that battle was not just about muscle, but also about mental and emotional strength. One day, a senior commander called Eryx. The commander said, "We need to see how ready you really are." Eryx knew this was a big chance. The commander tested him with tough exercises, sometimes harsh and unforgiving. But Eryx never gave up. He kept getting back up every time he fell. The commander was surprised by his determination. As the battle grew near, Eryx started to build friendships with some of the other soldiers. He shared that courage, honesty, and sacrifice were the real powers that kept a warrior alive. Slowly, his simple dedication won many hearts. Finally, in the valley of Thermopylae, when the enemy was close, Eryx took up his sword for the first time in true battle. He knew this fight would not be easy and might be his last, but he did not let fear take hold. He gripped his sword tightly and felt a fire inside him. He understood that his name might never be written in history, but his struggle would be an example, that those who try and never give up are the real winners. The Battle of Thermopylae raged with thunderous force. The Persian army was massive, but the Spartans stood firm like an unbreakable wall. Eryx fought alongside his brothers in arms, not as a prince or a hero, but as a man who chose to stand when others would flee. Every swing of his sword, every step forward was a fight against doubt, not just in his enemies, but inside himself. He thought of all the times he was told he wasn't good enough, all the times he was ignored or mocked. But here, with the weight of history on his shoulders, he found a strength he never knew he had. The fighting was brutal, the air filled with shouts, metal clashing, and the smell of sweat and blood. Yet, through all the chaos, Eryx kept moving, kept standing. His fear turned into focus. His pain turned into power. When the sun began to set, the Spartans were fewer, but their spirit was unbroken. Many had fallen, including King Leonidas, but the courage they showed that day inspired all of Greece for generations to come. Eryx survived, but he did not return home a celebrated hero. His name was never carved in stone or sung by poets. Yet, something deeper happened. He carried with him a lesson, that greatness isn't always about fame or glory. Sometimes it's about quiet courage, the choice to stand up when everyone else sits down, and the determination to keep fighting even when the world tells you to give up. Years later, Eryx would tell his story, not for praise, but to remind others that the fight inside each person is what truly defines them. He became more than just a forgotten soldier. He became a symbol, proof that no matter who you are or where you come from, the fire of a Spartan burns inside anyone brave enough to choose courage over fear. And that fire, once lit, can never be extinguished.